What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another CZN video. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my plans for preparing for the unit that you see on your screen here, Yuki, the Order Striker, who does release in about a day and a half, 2 days, depending on when you're watching this. And she is a character that looks to be pretty strong as an AoE damage dealer, so I definitely am going to pull her. How many copies, I'm not too sure, but I'm definitely going to pull at least one, and I am preparing for her by pre-farming these materials. So basically how I am preparing, or I guess I already prepared, I did actually farm a lot of units first off. So it does cost about 3 million units to level a character from 1 to 60. I don't know if I'll bring her all the way to 60, but I'll probably get her to at least 50 because I think that's what you need to make her usable in difficulty 10 for Chaos Mode. 60, maybe I'll go for depending on how she feels. But for the most part, you know, I do have a lot of units saved up. I do also have a decent amount of these combatant level up materials, which is also required to level up your characters, obviously. But more importantly, I do have the striker promotion materials farmed up. I think about 50 should be okay. I do plan to go to 60 because I think that's how much you need to guarantee that you can get her to, 60. You need 50 of the mats to get her to level 60 is what I'm trying to say. But like I said, I don't know if I'll get her to 60, but I do have a lot of these materials saved up. Also, I do have a lot of these order potential materials saved up as well from farming it for the past week. So you can kind of see I'm very prepared. I'm definitely going to max her out, or I guess get her to as high as I can so I can test her out for you guys in case you guys are curious if she ends up being good or not. Now, the biggest thing people are asking me though is memory fragments. What do I plan to use on her for gear? So if you look at her cards here, she doesn't really have like only 1 cost or only 2 cost. She's kind of like something like Rin, where she has like a mixture. So I don't really think something like Conqueror's Aspect Set, which is going to buff crit damage 1 cost, is that good. I don't think that this one will be good either, Line of Justice, because it's going to buff 2 cost cards. Now, I don't really know how Inspiration will interact with these sets. If Inspiration, when it drops one of her cards that costs 2 to 1, if it then counts as a 1 cost card, then maybe this ends up being very good. But I'll have to test it out. I'm not really too sure how the interaction works. So for now, my plan is to use these 3 sets. Which ones I'll use, I'm still thinking about, but I do have a plan, which I'll actually show you because I do have a sample set equipped on my Hugo. But the first set I could use is the Bullet of Order set because she's an Order character. However, I will say if you use this set on any Order character, you do need to play a lot of attack cards to stack this up, and the buff only lasts for 1 turn, which feels pretty bad. However, you can kind of manipulate this by using a lot of neutral attack cards, which I'll show you. And this can be pretty good on her because it feels like she's going to be able to play a lot of cards, right? With Inspiration, her cards look pretty cheap. You know, you can use a lot of 1 cost cards. And I think if I pair her with like a Mika even, or if I have something that can generate her AP otherwise with like Rally or like Attack, the neutral card that gives you AP with that Divine Epiphany, then I think this could be very good for her. But definitely a hard set to use. I don't think this is going to be a good choice when you're farming her deck. But once you do farm her deck and use her in like that endgame content, I think it'll be very good. The other 2 sets that'll end up being very good for her, and just like any damage dealer in general, of course, is the Blackwing set. You get attack percent. I do plan to use that on her no matter what. And then the crit damage set, Executioner's Tool set. The thing with this set though is you do want as much crit rate as possible, so you do need good gear and you do need to get those potential nodes that give you crit chance. But this one could be a solid option as well. I think some people are actually planning to run Blackwing and Executioners together, and then they'll run something else for that last 2 set, maybe even this Agony set if they plan to run Tressa or with Agony neutral cards. Don't think it's the best option. Some people might run Seth Scarab set because her basic cards do a decent amount of damage as well. Or I guess even the HP set or the defense set to push into Chaos Mode, right? Honestly, I think for Chaos Mode, you can run the attack set, crit damage set, and the HP set, and it's probably going to be the best option for pushing into Chaos and farming her deck. But for me personally, I do plan to run her on the Bullet of Order set, especially once I do farm her deck, because you're going to see that if I look at my Hugo setup, I do have a deck on Hugo that utilizes this very well. So the reason why it's actually pretty good if you farm the deck is because you can actually farm some quick shellings and a lot of neutral cards. There's a decent amount of neutral cards that cost 0, and there's some that actually are attack cards. Quick shelling is pretty good because it also draws you a card, so you actually gain something from this, not just doing damage. So you're drawing a card with it, but you're also stacking up that order set. So I do plan to run her on some sort of set like this because she already has a decent amount of draw in her kit, and by giving her more, can't really hurt, right? So I'm gonna definitely try it out on her. But in terms of like the gear, the memory fragments specifically, I do have it all set up already. So you can see, you know, the left side pieces, nothing too crazy. Obviously the substats can use a lot of work, but I think they're okay for the most part. Because, you know, my Hugo does want extra damage. She doesn't really want extra damage because she doesn't have follow-up damage, but I can swap out some pieces, especially that denial piece. But the right side pieces I think are going to be very good for her. I think you want crit chance on the necklace on pretty much every single DPS, no matter what. I do have order damage on this cup here. It's pretty good, right? Crit chance and attack with some defense sprinkled in for some survivability. Not ideal, but it's okay. And then the wing here, right? Attack percent main stat is probably the best option as well. And we have some crit chance with some defensive stats and also some attack here. So this is probably what her stats will end up looking like. Doesn't look like the best because the crit chance is a bit low, but you have to keep in mind my Hugo doesn't have any of the crit chance in his potentials. So if I get it into her potentials, I could probably bump it up to about 50% crit chance, which will be really, really good. So that is my plan for the memory fragments, and like I said, I think the order set is mostly going to have to do with this quick shelling build, but in the case that it ends up not working out, I can just run her on the crit damage set along with the Blackwing set, and it'll probably be fine, right? And the crit damage set is called it's this set here, the Executioner's Tool Ideal. So it'd probably be something like what my Renault is running. Yeah, so something like this is probably what I'd end up running on her, in the case that the order set ends up being not that good. So in terms of how many copies I plan to pull, I don't really know because we don't know what her dupes do yet. They didn't showcase it at all. But you can see I do have the guaranteed pity in 32 summons. I do have 49 summons saved up. And I do have enough crystals for another 50-50, right? Basically. So we'll have to see what happens. Maybe I'll swipe. In the case that, you know, she ends up being very good, I'll probably take her to T2, so 3 copies. If not, then I might just keep her at 1 copy at T0 and probably wait for the next character to come out, Chizuru, because she looks pretty cool as well. But yeah, like I said, she is coming out in about 1 day, 15 hours as of recording this. Definitely going to test her out. Just wanted to share with you guys my plans in preparing for her. I think she's going to be a very solid character, right? We don't have a lot of decent AoE characters in the game. If I look at the agents here, the only really good one is like Kayron. But besides that, there's not any real good ones, right? So because of that, I definitely want to pull for her. I think, you know, having a good AoE character is very good. And if you look at my roster, I don't really have any. I guess Calipe is also a very good AoE DPS, right? So I guess I forgot about her. But yeah, I still want her because she's waifu, so might as well pull for her. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys are pulling for her and how you guys are preparing. Like I said, definitely gonna pull for her. I'll have a summoning video as well, so you guys can check it out. You'll be able to see if I get lucky and be happy with me, or if I get unlucky and you can laugh at me. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.